Hi, my name is Nisa Sunar, and this is my second video. I am going to be talking about the work of peer specialists and, most importantly, the nature of wellness. So, what is wellness specifically? So, you have the traditional medical model approach to wellness where mental illness is seen as a group of behaviors or experiences that are seen as maladaptive or symptomatic, and then you take medications to then address these symptoms, and when the symptoms are eradicated, that means that the person is cured, right? But in practical terms, or in terms of people's lived experience, such as my own, we say that getting rid of symptoms is not enough to ensure true wellness. Getting rid of symptoms with pills doesn't guarantee that the quality of life is where we want it to be. I can just keep it on myself. So I can take medications, but the quality of my life can still be poor. I may feel flat. I may have side effects from medications that are very debilitating, such as extreme weight gain, which I once had from a medication I took, drooling, tardive dyskinesia. A lot of physical problems come along with medications as side effects. So quality of life isn't necessarily something that we would call wellness if we're adherent to a treatment plan. That's not to say that medications are not effective at all. I know for me, my medications, specifically the ones I take, save my life. And without these medications, I would not be here making a video. I would not be working as a peer specialist. I would not be finishing up a master's in social work degree. So this is not to say that medications are not helpful. They're extremely helpful. But in terms of viewing wellness as a more holistic concept, medications are a piece of that. They can be a really big piece, but it's not the only thing. So what I want to do is talk about SAMHSA's 8 dimensions of wellness. So SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. I think I got that right. Okay. So they are an organization that propagates, not wellness, but propagates mental health care and also substance abuse services for people in need. That's a really gross, under description of what that is, and I could probably say that a lot better. But anyway, when I was studying to become a peer specialist, I was a student at a program at a place called Howie the Harp Advocacy Center. It's a peer specialist training program in Harlem, New York City. It was really intense. It was 5-6 months of classes, 5 days a week, followed by a 3-month internship that I completed. And then, after completing that internship, then I was hired full-time as a peer specialist, and I started working full-time in December of 2014. And that was the first time I ever had a full-time job, because in the past, when I was trying to go to school for job prep, I was trying to be a music teacher, I lost my job and had to drop out of school a couple of times because of relapsing with the psychosis. So becoming a peer specialist, it was actually a way for me to start working again. The part-time engagement with school, although that wasn't part-time, then the internship, then going to work. It was the first full-time job I had ever been able to keep. So I'm very thankful to peer work for existing, because it was a stepping stone for me to get into work full time. I know for me, though, I fell in love with the work, so now I'm pursuing it further with social work. But anyway, I want to talk about SAMHSA's 8 dimensions of wellness, because it is a good way to talk about what wellness is, right? So we said that wellness is not only the absence of symptoms, but it's about having a satisfying quality of life. So with SAMHSA's 8 dimensions of wellness, this too describes wellness on a variety of domains. And the idea is that if we have wellness in each of these dimensions, that can be something that indicates that we're feeling good, right? So wellness, since it has multiple dimensions, we can say that it's a holistic concept that, has a lot. Since there's so many dimensions, that means there are many ways that we can invite wellness into our lives, right? So I'm going off of a PDF here of a poster put out by SAMHSA, and the PDF link is going to be below, okay, in the description, so you can see it for yourself. But anyway, the first dimension is emotional, and it says coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. So if we think about our emotional wellness, or if I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, how am I coping with life? How is my life circumstances affecting me emotionally? Also, how are the relationships that I have with people, my friends, significant other, my family, how are these factors in my life, relationships with other people, and also my life circumstances, how is that affecting me emotionally? Do I feel like I'm thriving in this way, in this domain, or is there something to be desired? I think the first step in terms of determining emotional wellness is, self-gauging ourselves and our condition or our level, and then just leave it there. It's kind of like we're always going to have more wellness in certain domains than others, but the first step to considering this is that just considering, like, what is my emotional wellness, right? Is it good? Is it, okay. So now, next one, interestingly, I'm just going around the circle, is financial wellness, right? Satisfaction with current and future financial situations. And this might seem a little roundabout. I know a lot of people, including myself, it's like, oh, I'd be happier if I had more money, I mean, that can definitely help things, paying the bills, right? Stress can be caused by having not enough money, right? But I just kind of want to share a personal story also that's related to definitely financial wellness, is just spending. There have been times in my life where I guess you would call it mania or delusions of grandeur. Like, there was one time where I thought I would hire someone to draw like some comic book pictures for me and I'd make $1 million. So I paid an illustrator $2,000 to illustrate a rap song that I wrote about hamsters, and like I paid him $2,000. I never got the original pictures, and of course, like, they were just not what I wanted, like that's really, that's another thing. Like, if my financial wellness is not doing too well and I'm spending my money that way, that is an indication that there's not much wellness going on. Another time, like, I've it's a long story, but like just spending money on psychics because I feel like I need spiritual cleansing because I have demons in me. These things can happen. Okay. Now, the third dimension is social. Developing a sense of connection, belonging, and a well-developed support system. So social, I guess, is kind of easy to figure that it's interactions with other people. Right, so developing a sense of connection with others. And that's actually a really big thing that rings bells in me, because when I was on specific medications, I felt very flat in my affect, and I felt very disconnected to the people around me. And also, because of my flat affect, people didn't feel connected to me when they were talking to me. And that's actually very isolating. It's a very lonely experience, and it's like, it's not my fault. It's my face, which is being affected by the medications, things like that. And also, depression itself, for me, it makes me flat. Developing a sense of belonging. Again, feeling connected to the other people around me, and feeling like I belong, right? And a well-developed support system. This is interesting. Like, a support system, for me, is people in my life who support me. Like, if I'm having a bad day, who can I talk to feel better, right? That's actually a really tall order for so many people, or just for myself. Like, mental strife can cause isolation, and it's like one of the best ways to get out of distress is to trust other people and to talk to them, This video is getting long. Jeez. Okay. Anyway, spiritual wellness. Expanding our sense of purpose and meaning in life. So when it says spiritual here, it doesn't necessarily mean having a religion or going to church or having a spiritual orientation. It just basically means having a sense of purpose. Like, why am I alive? What is the meaning of life, right? And it says here, meaning in life. Coming up, I think for me, coming up with a set of values. You know, what is important in life? What is my personal philosophy? Okay. Occupational. Personal satisfaction and enrichment derived from one's work. So occupational doesn't necessarily mean you have a job, right? I was disabled for several years and I couldn't work, you know. But I mean, occupational for me at that time in my life was I was writing songs and I was going to open mics in Manhattan and Brooklyn and enjoying myself playing my songs, right? So even though I didn't have a job, I still gave myself some sort of task to do that was meaningful to me. You know, I could be at home, like, doing arts and crafts projects or what have you. That is creating work in my life that gives me sort of personal satisfaction, right? Or if, on the other hand, if you're working a profession that's not to your liking, or you feel like you want something more in terms of tasks at work, that's all related to the occupational wellness. Okay, so physical wellness, recognizing the need for physical activity, diet, sleep, and nutrition. So essentially tending to the body, making sure that you are eating healthy food or exercising, keeping yourself physically healthy, right? That's not necessarily like taking a bunch of vitamins and saying that you're cured for mental illness. Like I've gotten that a lot. It's like, oh, well, you know, those medicines are really bad for you. You should just take supplements. And no, it doesn't work that way, at least for me. I mean, lately I do take a lot of supplements, but you have to be careful with like mixing things. And also, supplements don't do the same thing, right? Not for me. Intellectual wellness here, recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. It's kind of like a blur between occupational and intellectual, because like occupational implies work, I suppose, whereas intellectual implies like mental stimulation. But also, like, I think intellectual also, if you're going to school for an occupational purpose, you're stimulating your intellect in that process. But anyway, it says here, recognizing creative abilities. I like creative. I'm very creative in the way I approach life, and I think it's very important to have overall. Recognizing creative abilities and finding ways to expand knowledge and skills. I could say a lot about that, but I'm just going to move on. The last dimension is environmental. Good health by occupying pleasant, stimulating environments that support well-being. That can be described in a lot of ways, like the neighborhood where you live. Is it safe? Is it crowded? What is your preference in terms of what you want in your environment, right? Or even like your home. What is the inside of your home like? Is it cluttered? Is it neat? Who lives there? Do you get along with them, right? My room is like really cluttered. You see that? It's really bad. So, but I don't know. What else? Good health by occupying pleasant environment. Like, do you have mold in your house, right? Do you have bugs? This is like, things like that can be like really stressful, and that certainly affects our mental health, right? So I've gone through the 8 dimensions of wellness, and I just want to leave you with the idea that because there are so many domains of wellness, that means there are many aspects of ourselves that need to be nurtured. And in order to nurture these many aspects of ourselves, we have to develop many tools or discover many tools that we can use to invite wellness into our lives, right? So if you think about the first one, emotional wellness, coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. I guess you would figure that if I'm feeling poor in my emotional wellness, right? What can I do to feel better in my emotional wellness, right? So for me, if I'm feeling poor in my emotional wellness, I will confide in a friend, or I'll talk to, family about how I'm feeling, and then I can boost my emotional wellness. So let's, like, environmental wellness. Like, if I'm feeling, blue in my home, maybe it's because there's a mess, and if I clean up my mess, I'll feel better, right? If physical wellness, like if I'm feeling, I don't know, sleepy, maybe I'll sleep and I'll feel better, right? This is this is another discussion to have, like wellness tools. But I just want to introduce the idea that because there are so many domains of wellness, that means that there are many options and opportunities for us to develop tools that can address all these different things. And the more tools we have, the more we can affect wellness into our lives. Okay, so I hope this video was interesting. It's Friday night, and I was thinking of going out. I'm not sure if I am, because I was like, I have to make this video. But yeah, please feel free to share and comment. And thank you. Have a nice night.